There's a threat out there. It doesn't discriminate between federal and imperial. It doesn't discriminate between military and civilian. It's coming for all of us. And despite a small minority thinking that the best way to deal with the Thargoid menace is to give it a cuddle and play it some folk music around a campfire, the real way to combat it is to take it out for a meal of gauze and AX multi-cannon rounds. Whilst Lakon is best known for its line of trading ships, they've also managed to pull out a line of Goid-bashing ships to Uber Eats that meal of firepower to our alien invaders. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Alliance Chieftain, commissioned by the Alliance and designed and manufactured by Lakon Spaceways from 3304. It's a medium ship with a length of 58.5 metres and a width of 68.1. Lakon have a reputation for being a manufacturer that focuses on function rather than form, with some fans saying that they prefer their ships to look like ships and not abstract sculptures. Clearly, however, Lakon missed that brief with the Chieftain because while the function is excellent for the design purpose, this ship is absolutely gorgeous in my opinion. It manages to dance on the line between looking good and looking functional at the same time. The rear landing struts are built into the rear engine pylons, so when the Chieftain is on the deck, it makes me think of a puppy sitting, eager to get out there and destroy some furniture, or play ball with a Thargoid scout. Custom paint jobs are there, but they are limited. I alternate between an all-over yellow coating and the default scheme. You can buy others, but other ships like the Viper and Python rather spoil you in that choice for comparison. But when the ship looks this good to begin with, I'm okay with that. Functionally, the design isn't without its flaws. Whilst the engines are primarily mounted on pylons away from the main structure in order to give the Chieftain its excellent manoeuvrability, it does also make them rather vulnerable to being shot at, meaning that if potentially a pirate wanted to disable you, it wouldn't actually be all that difficult. That's not all though. During the design phase, Lakon wanted to use the same canopy as their Type 9, presumably to save a few credits in manufacturing. However, they later changed the canopy to the design we see today. It's not confirmed anywhere, but I presume Lakon's pre-release testing showed that the Type 9 canopy was too large and too exposed for a combat ship. So they changed it to the current implementation. Which, if I'm honest, is one of the worst things about this ship. Visibility isn't bad, but it's hugely vulnerable to incoming fire and it pops easily. If anything, the Chieftain is potentially the only ship that's needed to keep the galactic version of Autoglass in business. I would strongly recommend taking an AFMU on your travels with this ship so you can repair the canopy on the first crack, plus enough raw materials to synth some oxygen if the worst happens, and some decent life support modules. You can trade with the Chieftain. You can trade in the same way that you can open a door with an AK-47. It'll work, but it's not the intended purpose, and in the long run, it'll be more labour intensive. Really, if trading is your bag, you'll probably want to save 2 million credits and just buy a Type 7. The hardpoints do work well, however, for mining, allowing you to equip whatever mining tools you need, plus the manoeuvrability of the Chief will let you effortlessly glide between rocks with no issue, but given the focus on combat, you won't be able to use the 3 military compartments for anything particularly useful for mining. Jump range isn't fantastic even with engineering. It'll do for short trips out the bubble, for example if you want to take the fight to the Pleiades Nebula, but anything further than that and you'll be wishing for something a little bit more substantial. I'm not saying that you can't explore in the Chieftain. I have an opinion that you can explore with anything if you know your ship limits, but if you're traversing through an area lacking in scoopable stars, you might run into some issues. Really, you want to use this ship for its intended purpose, combat. Given it was designed with the manoeuvrability and hardpoints to keep a Thargoid interceptor on its toes, this is truly where the ship excels. With 2 large, 1 medium and 3 small hardpoints, you can equip the Chieftain with enough firepower to become a formidable adversary, and with the military compartments and other internal slots, you can ensure you'll stay in the fight longer than a ship in this price range has any right to. If you're of the mindset that you should give the Thargoids a chance, 2 things. 1, you're wrong, and 2, you don't have to take this out Xeno bashing. I mean, you should give it a go at least once, but that's not all it's good for in combat. All you need to do is equip the Chief with regular weapons and modules, then you have something that will keep the Hazareds clean from the pirate scum. Unless, of course, you are the pirate scum, in which case, please leave my trading ships alone. Convergence is excellent, and when paired with the manoeuvrability of this ship, is excellent for gauze cannons, railguns, and other fixed weapons, depending on your target of choice. One other thing, for what you get, the Chieftain is staggeringly well priced. Coming in at 19 million credits to buy, it's less than half the price of the other darling ship for AX combat, the Crate Mark II. The Federal assault ship is near enough the same price. It has marginally better armour, but less shield capacity. But you also need to align yourself to the Federation and grind rank with them just to obtain the permit to buy it. Plus, the Federal assault ship is, well, for lack of a better word, it's ugly. Insurance on the basic ship is pretty cheap as well at just under 1 million credits, and that's something that's important if you're learning combat, especially combat with Thargoids, as you'll start by potentially rebuying your ship from the breakers a lot. Should you buy the Chieftain? If you're after a career in trading, probably not. You'd be better saving some credits and going for a dedicated trading ship or an all-rounder if you like to dabble in other fields. For mining it can work if you don't mind smaller hauls, but at the same time you're mining, those free military compartments will be a constant reminder that this ship is meant for so much more. For exploration, as I said, I think you can explore in any ship if you know the limits, so you can do it if you don't mind the shorter jump range and you plan your route accordingly. But if you want to go the long distances, this probably isn't the ship for you either. For combat though, you should absolutely consider the Chieftain. Regardless of whether you're hunting humans or Thargoids, the Chieftain can be armed to the teeth, it's very agile, and it's very cheap for what it is. It's hard to think of a reason why a combat pilot wouldn't at least dance with the Chieftain for an evening, even if they're eyeing up the crate that's looking on from the bar. Just in case you weren't sure, we asked the Thargoid Cyclops for their opinion. This is what the response was. Turns out they approve of it too. If you're still not sure but you like the looks, there's also the Challenger and the Crusader from Lakon. I'll cover these at a future date with a few direct comparisons to the Chieftain, but in my opinion the Chieftain is the better of the three ships to fly. As always, thank you for watching. If you've liked this video, hit the button. If you want to see more, take a look at the previous uploads I've done before this, including the Python and the Viper 3. All that aside, don't fly without a rebuy, and I hope you're having a fantastic time. 07 Commanders.